Andy Hall from the Infamous Stringdusters here, and I'm doing an interview with ArtistWorks today to tell you a little bit about our brand new record that's coming out on February 5th called Ladies and Gentlemen. Brand new record from my band and really excited about it, and a really cool thing we're doing is the day this record drops, I'm going to release a brand new lesson to my Dobro school to teach you how to play one of the songs off this record. So let's get into some of these questions. You know, the concept for this record kind of came about, we've been doing records for 10 years or so, and we have 5 studio records from our band, and they all have sort of a similar format. You know, we write the majority of the songs, we sing them, we arrange them together, and although the sounds do vary and differ certainly from album to album, we really wanted to do something different, you know, do something that was a little outside the norm for us. And what we wanted to do really was collaborate with musicians and singers in particular. You know, we've done a fair amount of backing up musicians as a band, and we have so many great female artists that we get to play and work with from time to time. We really wanted to incorporate that element into this record, and then the name of this record, Ladies and Gentlemen, came to us somehow, and that name, when it came to us, it kind of was the guiding force behind this record. So using that name, Ladies and Gentlemen, we kind of went forward with a concept of our band playing, writing, and recording, you know, all the songs with female lead singers, you know, artists that have some sort of connection with, have worked with in the past. So something really cool and different for us. We recorded this record in Nashville, where the band actually originated. A lot of the members have sort of moved to different areas now, but Nashville was originally home for us, so it's always been a comfortable place to record, certainly a hub of other artists and musicians, which was key for this project, you know, trying to organize schedules and whatnot. So we recorded there, and we did it at definitely a breakneck pace. I think we did the whole record in 4 days. At least all the tracks, all the background vocals, all of that done in 4 days. So we did 12 songs in 4 days. And, you know, we kind of used a different soundscape for this. We're all still playing our same instruments. I'm playing Dobro, banjo, fiddle. But we recorded ourselves acoustically like we normally do. But we also played into amps. And with some of these songs, they're kind of a little more spacious, and so having that sustain, and we even used, you know, like the vibrato or reverb on the amps to get this really neat kind of ambient sound. On the banjo was sort of a key sound. We used the vibrato sound on the banjo, so as opposed to the banjo doing like normally in Bluegrass they do faster rolls with a lot of notes, the banjo was plucking these chords, and it would reverberate and sort of vibrato, and it was kind of a neat soundscape. So we changed up the sound just a little bit for how we did this, and we recorded it really fast, which made for a really neat live sound. So for this project, we knew we needed a great producer, and Chris Goldsmith is the guy we went with, and we'd heard his name here and there. He's worked with some great artists like Blind Boys of Alabama, Charlie Musselwhite, and Ben Harper did this great collaborative record that he produced, among a lot of other things. So we knew we needed a producer for this record that knew how to get artists to collaborate and knew how to be organized and efficient in the studio. You know, sometimes it's hard to achieve all that on your own, and so we really need someone to step in and help us with that, and Chris was the perfect guy. You know, because we recorded this record so quickly, in just 4 days' time, we needed someone who could really help us be on point, as well as be creative. You know, he was the one who came up with the idea of using amplifiers on the acoustic instruments with the vibrato and the reverb, and having this sort of cohesive sound for the whole record, which was really needed because we have a different singer on every song. So we needed to gel that all together, kind of a unified sound backing up those different singers, so that there was a, it really sounded like a single project. And Chris was just amazing with that. He had the organizational skills we needed to keep us on point, because when it's just the five of us, the Infamous Stringdusters, we can really go down sort of the rabbit hole of creativity, which is great, but can really cost you in time. Chris was able to do the creative thing, plus really keep us on point and sort of crack the whip, make sure we got things done. And we really needed him for this, and he just did a fantastic job in helping us come up with this project. So the idea for the sound of this record really did come from Chris Goldsmith, at least as far as the recording process. We as the Stringdusters had a real vision as far as the songs, which was really, much needed. But Chris had the idea for the recording process and the idea to use amplifiers, on the acoustic instruments. And he got this idea. He'd worked with the Staples singers. And Pop Staples, if you've ever checked them out, had this great guitar sound where he played with this sort of vibrato-y sound. And as I say, he'd play through like a vintage Fender amp with the vibrato up, and it had this, this kind of repeating, really cool, reverbed out sound. And he thought that sound would be really neat, particularly on the banjo, was his idea. And so that sound, that idea is constant throughout the record, this banjo with this vibrato kind of reverb sound. And all of us used the amplifiers to some degree. And it allowed us to play sort of more spaciously with the reverb and the vibrato and kind of take a whole different approach to how we play the instrument. So his concept of playing through the amps really changed the way we played on the record. Not significantly, but just enough to make this record, I think, really unique. So for me personally on this record, the Dobro approach was very cool. There's a few songs where it was, my approach was more like traditional Stringdusters, where I'm playing, more of a bluegrass role as far as, there's a bluegrass rhythm to it. I'm chopping maybe, doing some backbeat chopping, some chord pads, and then, taking solos, sort of that approach. But there was other songs that really required a more part-oriented approach. And what I mean by that is basically, coming up with what you play on the whole song in advance. With bluegrass, you're kind of improvising your way through, and there's some things that you do that are go-to, like chops on the verse, maybe play some pads on the chorus, take a solo, but it's improvised as you go along. Some of these songs, I really came up with the part. There's melodic parts that I play, sometimes in harmony with another musician. And so that part-oriented playing is a little more like, rock and roll or maybe even pop music, where you're not improvising as much on some of these songs. You're doing, like I say, more of these pre-written parts, and so it meant that I had to do quite a bit of preparation. It's not like I can just know the chord progression and improvise through. We wanted to come up with parts that didn't clash with each other, so we had to do a lot of pre-production to come up with our individual parts. For me, it's been great because it really allows the tone and the sustain of the dobro to come forth. And sometimes in bluegrass, you're playing fast, there's a lot going on, the tones of the instruments can sometimes get a little lost, although it sounds great. But with this, there's more space, more room for that sustain, and writing those parts for some of these songs was really, really fun and interesting for me. So Ladies and Gentlemen comes out on February 5th, and right after that we go on tour for about 2.5 months, and what we want to do different with this tour is actually, get some of these artists that we worked with on the record to come and play some shows with us. Now we have some pretty cool singers on this project, from Joss Stone, Leanne Womack, Aoife O'Donovan, Nikki Bloom, you know, a whole range of singers. And actually we're going to take Nikki Bloom out on the road with us. She has a great band, Nikki Bloom and the Gramblers. You should check her out. And so she's going to be on the tour bus with us playing these shows. You know, so our band is going to grow just a little bit for the tour for this project, which is really exciting. You know, I imagine, we haven't come up totally with the concept for the show, but you know, we'll be doing some dusters. We'll be bringing Nikki out to play some of these new Ladies and Gentlemen songs, some more dusters, you know, a real collaborative effort. And so, you know, we felt like it was key to have you know, at least a vocalist to be on tour with us to kind of help us bring these songs to the people for the live show. We're also doing, you know, some other special shows that are going to have some of the other artists that we worked with. So not only is the record collaborative, but the tour is gonna definitely match that. And you know, for real hardcore Duster fans, it's going to have everything that you would expect from a Duster show. For new fans, it's going to incorporate some of these Ladies and Gentlemen elements. So really excited about the tour. I think my favorite song on the record is one called "See How Far You've Come." You know, we wrote all the songs for this record, and this one was written by Jeremy, our fiddle player, and it is just a really neat blending. I think it's the kind of the perfect blending of Stringdusters sound and this sort of new, like, Ladies and Gentlemen concept. Sarah Watkins from Nickel Creek is the singer on it, and I think she really, you know, understands that blending of like bluegrass and more progressive like rock and pop, and she just sang so good on this song. You know, it's a little more fast-paced than some of the other songs, which is more you know, reminiscent of you know, a classic Stringdusters sound. You know, there's some fiery solos, there's beautiful singing. You know, there's some really neat parts that you hear that repeat. And so to me, this song, "See How Far You've Come," really kind of is the perfect blend of Stringdusters, the Ladies and Gentlemen, this sort of new concept, and it's just a really neat song. So that one is kind of my personal favorite. There's another one called "Hazosphere." It's the only instrumental on the record that's really cool as well, that has this pretty fun dobro and trumpet kind of face-off solo trade thing at the end that's really neat. So, you know, those are a couple of my fun moments on the record, but man, the whole thing is really exciting and fun to listen to for sure. So hopefully this gives you a little insight into Ladies and Gentlemen and what's coming up. Be on the lookout for that new lesson coming out February 5th, and we'll see you on the site. Thanks a lot, guys.